in here now after giving her a good bath. She's clean now. A little bit easier to work on when it's clean. So the next order of business, the next couple of orders of business, I guess, will be to get this right here cleaned up and start painting all this. That's going to be a task. That is a mess. Yeah. So, yeah, you can see there's a lot going on in here. Now, I want to delete and clean up as much of that as possible. You know, obviously you don't want to raise the hood, you know, at a car show or something and have all that, showing. So that's going to be the next order of business, will be to get this engine bay clean, just ahead of putting the motor in. Also on the docket is to get this thing disassembled. I'm going to go ahead and pull that grill out, the bumper, the trim today, and the mirrors, and the taillights and the rear bumper. We're going to disassemble this thing as far as we can, get that stuff off out of the way. Number one, that helps us put the engine in easier, because when we pulled that motor way back, you know, first of the year, we got it out no problem. But with our cherry picker, which is, you know, just a basic Harbor Freight, the shaft on that cherry picker is not really that long, and with it extended all the way out, we were running into issues with the front of the cherry picker running into the bumper, or well, the jack part of the cherry picker wanting to touch right here on the bumper. So I think I'll go ahead and pull that stuff off. Let's disassemble everything. Number one, that's going to make it easier, get this motor in. Two, when we paint this thing right after the motor goes in, we'll just leave it stuff off. We won't have to tape it up. So that's a plus. So let's jump right into that. I think we'll go ahead and get this stuff disassembled while it's clean, get it put up. That way it don't get dirty as we start cleaning out this engine bay. Try to save as much work as we can, make it as easy as we can. This whole girl, been a long time coming, trying to get that motor, you know, in and out of the machine shop. That took a while. And now that it's back and put together and looking good, let's get the rest of this looking good, and then we'll get the motor in, get it driving, get it moving under its own power so we can finish up this body work and give this thing a paint job. That's about it on this Bronco, really. I want to go in and paint everything up underneath of it also, and clean up any surface rust or any decay. I want this thing to look spot on, really good. This truck's in really good shape, so let's take it to the distance. Enough gabbing. That's where we're going. Getting this apart's how we get there. Let's jump on it. Nice. It looks like that this grill is not broken anywhere, so could clean this up. And you can see right here, I'll bring you guys in, this right here is flaking common, and you can see that it's into the chrome here where it's just old. The problem with that is it's not something you're going to fix. If that, you can clean that and make it look, you know, much better, but you can't. There's not a whole lot you can do with it. I mean, clean it up best you can. You know, it won't look like new, but it'll look better than what it does. So I decided replacing it, clean it, made a little paint. We may run this grill, I'd like to, so we'll see. Now all we have left is our bezels. Of course, this one's just about out anyway. It looks like we had this screw here, this screw here that's giving us some trouble, and just a couple of other Phillips head screws. But you can take this whole grill, surrounding out everything, headlight and all, with just a screwdriver. That's all you need. So I'll go ahead and finish taking those screws out, and then we'll probably start in on that bumper. Alright, we got that grill out. I went ahead and took the other side. Show you now what it looks like with the grill off. Well, like I said, it's just going to make it easier to put the motor in, and I need to come in here anyway and paint in here. Now, we'll recap the bolts. You have bolt holes all on the top right here with screws. Screws here, here, and then way down in here, you have a couple of screws. Those screws take off the bezel and this bottom piece of trim here. We were able to get all the screws out without any damage that was already, wasn't already damaged prior to us getting it. You can see right here where that plastic had broke. I don't know if somebody been messing with it or just time got it, but I got to get this screw here out. Now we need to get this one out, and then we can straighten this and bend all this back out. The next order of business, once we start with getting this out, that out, bend this and fix this flange right here, when we start to clean all of this, then we can also clean, sand, and paint all this in here, get all this rust took care of. Now we will move on to our side moldings and get those off. We've still got a little bit of rust repair. There wasn't a lot of rust on this thing, just a few spots, but I do want to get this off and see what it's hiding behind it. And we need to get these mirrors off. We can take those off, get those out of the way, and then we can move on to the tail lights and the bumpers, and then complete this assembly. We want to take out these side markers. You can't really see that one too good because of the battery in the way, and I still need the battery to run the windows to get the back tailgate open. But right in there is your light bulb, and then there should be a clip or a screw. I'm not exactly sure, we'll find out. This one's kind of loose, how this goes in, and obviously this one this one needs to be replaced. It's been sun faded so bad it's almost clear. So yeah, let's get on with that. On this trim, it's just bolts on the inside. I mean, here's a screw right here, and you'll have screws all the way around. Right there's a screw, and a screw. All the stuff's just screwed on. You just have to be careful when you're taking them out. Obviously you don't want to, waller out the heads, things of that nature. Get the right proper size screwdriver. Use pressure. Use the WD-40. And heat is always a great option. If it's not a plastic part and it's something you can polish out or paint afterwards, use heat. You can get one of these little torches right here. They work really good. And then of course, if it's a big bolt, the MAP gas. So yeah, heat's always a great option. If you can use heat, you can get this stuff right out. It comes right out no problem. But obviously don't use heat if it's plastic, because plastic melts. So enough said there. Take this let's take this trim off the fender wells, and we'll go from there. Alright, so this is worth mentioning. These lights right here, I've got the one on the driver's side out. Now this one was the one that was sun-baked and almost clear. So let me show you. It just basically was deteriorating. It fell apart. There was no saving it. It fell apart just as soon as I started trying to take it out. But for anybody that's working on one of these, and you want to change this light for whatever reason, it don't matter. I'm gonna show you something about it. Right here, you got to move your battery out of the way, and you go right through this big hole right here. fix that. You can see it right there, this big hole right here. And you'll have two pieces that are made on, they're plastic. They're made to that light. They're held on by these little, I wouldn't exactly call it a nut, but you know what I'm talking about. These little things right here. The problem is, if you've got one that's original like this, that plastic, this one will come out. I've already got that one nut off. The other one's almost ready to come off. Now it'll, I'll get that one out. I don't know whether we could reuse it or not. I don't know that it ever tightened back up. Of course, the plastic's old, sun-baked, brittle. Let's go ahead and take that out, and then I'll show you what the back of that light actually looks like when it's not broke. Alright, took it out. Here's what it looks like. Now, you can see those little plastic knobs. Basically, that style of nut, if you want to call it a nut or clip, it's a 1/2 inch, and you turn it on there, and it just kind of really cuts into that plastic of that light to hold it in there. These lights, for what they cost on Amazon or online in general, eBay, wherever you get your parts, buy new ones. I wouldn't. I saved this one and I got it out. The other one just basically was already broke and fell apart. But even this one, I mean, look at that. It's sun-baked. If you take these out, just replace them. I'm not sure. I'm sure you could probably get that nut back on there. Whether it would hold and for how long, I don't know. Could hold 10 minutes, could hold 10 years. But I just personally don't think you'd ever get it tight with it coming off of there, because it cuts those grooves off, and as brittle as that old plastic is, it would probably break when you try to tighten it in there to where the actual lens didn't move in the hole. So we're going to get a couple of new ones. I was going to replace the lights in this truck anyway. I just don't like to break anything when I'm taking it apart if I can help it. But with plastic grills and clips and stuff like that, you're working on stuff that's been sitting outside for years and years and years, and it's pretty much a no-brainer. You're going to break stuff. I mean, it just is what it is. Luckily, it's one of those marker lights, and they're not expensive, and I was going to replace them anyway. But enough on that. We're moving on now. I've got the mirrors loose. The trim is loose, so I'm going to get me some bags. I like to use Ziploc bags. I'll put all these screws for the trim in a Ziploc bag and mark it body trim or wheel well trim. Same with the grill screws, which I'm going to show you these screws too. These screws are tough. They're rusty as crap. They're old and sun-baked. These will all go through a wire wheel. I'll put them, get a little bench grinder from Harbor Freight. They're not very expensive. Knock everything over, make a mess. Yeah, they're not very expensive. Those bench grinders, you got the wire wheel on one side, grindstone on the other. I've used the heck out of mine, because I always want to clean all these bolts and screws and things up before I put them back in. And that thing's just ideal for that. It will save you a ton of time. So, tool tip for the day: bench grinder, Harbor Freight, 50 bucks. Get them on Marketplace, 30 bucks. Wherever you find it. It's a great addition. If you don't have one, I recommend getting one if you're going to work on old junk. So, moving on. Now, I'm going to go ahead. Now, I got all my bolts loose, and I'm going to take everything off now, my trim, my mirrors. We're going to take the antenna off. We'll get it off. The windshield wipers will come off. And back here will be the tail lights. Tail lights, pretty self-explanatory. 2 screws. Come to the inside on this one. Screw here. And screw right here. tail light come off. Then be on to the front and back bumper. Everything's coming off pretty easy, except for that light braking, which kind of irritates me a little bit, but it's okay. I wasn't going to reuse them. Oh, went ahead and fixed this. I ended up putting, where this was already, the plastic was broken, the screw was in there. I went ahead and took my little pocket torch, just kind of heated up the back side of this. Screw came right out, and then bent this back the way it's going to go. This is very weak, and you can see with me moving it how weak it is. May have to go back inside here and may even put a weld or something, I don't know, something there, and on this bottom one too, to stiffen those up so when we put everything back together we don't have an issue there with it bending or whatever. Alright, let me go ahead and take all this stuff off, then we'll move on to the bumpers. Because on the docket also today, I want to put the new gas tank in this thing and go ahead and get all that done. Blow our gas lines out, put our new tank in. I've got a new filler neck for it. I've not been doing just nothing all year long. I've been building parts. So let's see if we can get this thing together and move on with it. Alright guys, I removed the front bumper. So if you're wondering, it's only held on by 2 bolts. Single time we got trouble with this. Alright, I've got my new filler neck on. This one was looking pretty dingy. You can see some dry cracking stuff. So figured we'd just put us a new one on, and then that way we're not going to have an issue down the road. I've got the sending unit in. The voice helped out with that. We've got the truck up in the air now, and I believe we are just about ready to put this thing in. I've got the jack sitting over there. We need to get the tray this sits in, and we'll put it in the tray and then jack it up in there and hopefully plug it up and go ahead and get this out of the way. I did blow the fuel lines out. I took my air hose from the back, blow forward. It did blow some crud and a whole lot of stinking gas out of there, so that's that part is done. We have this truck don't have bands per se like a lot of cars do. It just has a compartment here that covers the whole tank, and it just pushes up in there. So that's, and then you have these bolts here that go all the way around that hold that up. Got some weeds. We got to get those weeds out of here. So we're going to get on to that. I'll get the tray, we'll get the tank set in it, get it on the jack, and hopefully we can knock that out. The only other thing that I really am concerned about knocking out on this thing today would be to get rid of that rear bumper, get it off of there, and then the whole thing will be stripped and the gas tank is took care of and put in it, and yeah, we'll be ready to clean, paint everything, and get ready to drop that motor. And you remember I had said, you know, we had some other little places of rust that needed to be addressed on this body before paint, and right here is one of those places right here. So we need to cut this section out. We'll remake this. That'll be for another video, but I'll cut this section completely out. We'll patch that in, fix that up nice. That should be it for the body repair on this truck. Yeah, moving along with it pretty quick now. So let's get that tank in there and see if we can get that done. We're working on getting that tray now, the actual pan that holds that tank in. We've got the bolts on the outside, but we're trying to work it on the inside here now to get those bolt holes to line up. It's not exactly easy to do this right here. Those bolt holes are slotted where they'll give a little bit, but I can only imagine trying to do this on your back. And what that tray is just to protect it if you're four-wheeling, I'm assuming. About everything else has the two bands that hold the tanks up. And they're not terrible, but I can see how this adds a lot of protection to your tank if you're off-roading. But nevertheless, it is being a little bit of a nuisance. Alright, we have it in there now. What we ended up having to do to get that to line up right, that tray, I'll take you off the tripod. We ended up having to support the end of the tank right here. That way we could move this around and get all these bolts in. Headache. That was a real headache for a few minutes anyway. Probably took about 30 minutes or so to figure out how to support that tank and get that in there. But it's in there now. So, and the tank is all hooked up. We just like hooking up the gas line and putting one clamp on the filler neck hose and then tightening up all the bolts, which they're fixing to do now with an air ratchet. So yeah, let's get them tightened up and then we'll go from there. Off now for the back. 3 bolts. 1, 2, one way up there. 3. 3 on each side in the same place. And then the bumper should slide right off. Let's see if it'll slide off there. We're going to steady this and you just let that jack down.
How are you going to get it out with 1 bolt in it?
Oh, it's got 1 bolt in it?
Yeah, that one that froze up over it.
Oh, hold on a minute. Put that nut on there and then give it a smack there with that hammer, and me and Axel will pick up on the bumper and it should come right out of there. Screw it up on there about 3/4 threads would be good. And then give it a tap with that socket. You got your side, Axel?
Yep.
It moved. Hold on, I'll get it to move. Hold on, I'm gonna squirt some WD-40 on it. That right there will get it moving.
That's bottom of the nut out, that's why it ain't going anymore.
See, got.
I backed the nut off some more.
I believe you can get it there.
Let me take this nut off.
There it is. Go ahead and pull the bolt out. Alright. And those will have to be cleaned. We can just slide straight back and let the jack down. It should just fall right with the jack. Okay, hold. Right here. We've got our
trailer plug.
no, our lights for our license plate. Actually, you see that plug right there for the license plate, it turns and just pops straight out. There you go. Alright, now we should be able to let this jack down. This bumper's in good shape. It's a little tweaked over here on the passenger side, but it's not tweaked enough for me to change it. Well, it's just a lot less right there to have to tape off in the long run. And it allows me to get, the biggest reason for taking this rear bumper off is because of this spot right here. We need to cut that out and put a piece in. And it'll make it super easy to do that with the bumper off. Alright, hold on, I'll put this down and we'll set that bumper on the ground. Alright, gas tank's in and the rear bumper is off now. And here's a shot of that bumper on the ground. And here's a shot of it off of the truck. Now we've got to address that. We don't want that to get any worse. We want to go ahead and fix that while we've got that bumper off. We can get to it, and we have the spot right here that is on the very bottom of this fender. So we've got those two spots. About to cut them two out, put in a little sheet metal there. Other than that, the body is really good. Everything's really straight. We've got this thing stripped down now all the way. So
This one really don't have a whole lot of rust in its back spots.
no, it don't have rust is there's not enough rust to even say it has rust. Those two spots, we'll fix those, and we're going to clean this up. Now this right here is our next goal. So in the next video we'll be tackling getting all this cleaned, sanded and painted, and probably new wire loom, probably rewrapping a lot of that wire, making sure it's where it needs to be, changing the brake booster, not the booster, but the proportioning valve or distribution block. It's not getting, previous owner told me it was not getting any brake fluid to the rear brakes, so that'll be our next thing. And I want to do that before we put that motor in, because that thing is right down there under the steering column shaft. So be a lot easier to do it now with no motor in it, get it done. I might get brake fluid moving all over before we set that motor. So that, cleaning this up, doing some painting, a lot of cleanup underneath the truck, a lot of painting underneath the truck too. Get that done. Maybe get some shocks in here and put on it. This has a double shock setup on the front. It's really nice. I'm going to put some new shocks on it. But yeah, that's what we're going to be going from here. So I hope you guys have a good week, and I'm going in the rest of the afternoon. Take it easy. Hit up our Facebook page. We always put here locally, you know, where we're going to be. I also post some bigger shows there and show schedules. Put a lot of cool cars on there, and I always add all of our videos and shorts onto that Facebook. So make sure you check it out. Make sure you please like the video. That keeps it going in circulation. That keeps it going around to other people. So make sure you please hit that like button. If you don't like the video, please hit the dislike button. That's fine too. Drop a comment if you like this kind of content. If you see something I could do better, or if you have any ideas of your own for this thing, drop them in the comments. And I always reply to all the comments, so you will hear from me directly. As for me and Bubba, we're done today. So until next time, take it easy. We'll catch you here next time on this Bronco. Let's get some painting done. Y'all have a good weekend.